Hi guys, it's Preston, and good morning again from Tokyo, Japan. As you can see, the sun is rising to my right over the Shinto shrine, and we're in a new location today, but it's really just my camera's pivoted the other way. So yes, today the church is behind me that way, and then this is a Shinto shrine, so very interesting, they're right next to each other. And Shintoism is the Japanese religion, and so they believe in multiple gods, but like there's a god in this bush over here, there's a god in this tree over here, there's a god in me and a god in you, and actually in this shrine it's very unique. Instead of having like a icon on the altar, it's actually a mirror that shows like you are God and you can be God. So very interesting. And so also each shrine, just a side note, each shrine has its own appeal. And so at this shrine there is this thing over here, and it's a big plate. And so at this shrine you can purchase these clay rock balls that you can throw at this plate, and then they shatter and crack, and that's like leaving behind like your brokenness and shattering that. So very interesting. And so probably throughout this video I filmed one before, but I had to cancel it because I got awakened by there's people starting to go to the shrine, and so you might hear people clapping, and that's them trying to wake up the gods that they believe in and say, look at me, I'm here to sacrifice my time for you. So very interesting. But in this video I want to talk about our day 2 and day 3. Day 2 was a full ministry day, and then day 3 was our one fun day of the trip, so it was very cool. Day 2 we woke up by walking around Tokyo. We actually walked by a park, and there were people stretching in the park, and so we learned later that the people stretching in the park is actually doing the morning Japanese stretching, which most people in the country do. It's about a 10-minute, 15-minute stretching routine that they do every single morning to start their day. And so I thought that was very cool. And actually the reason we know about it is because they invited us in. They said, "Ohayo gozaimasu," which means good morning in Japanese culture, and they invited us in to come join them, which was very cool. So we did join them, and actually I'm filming this video right around like 5:50, and so that after this I can go stretch with them again because they invited us back. So that was very cool. And then after that we had a little team meeting at a coffee shop. The coffee is super cheap here. Starbucks is like $2 or $3 here, which is obviously a sharp contrast from what the price is in the United States. So that was very interesting. And after the coffee we got on the Yamanote line and went to Sophia University, which is a university founded based on Catholic principles, but now it's 96-97% Christian. So we were going there to meet friends and meet new people. So the goal of this ministry trip is not to say, oh, we're some superiority and we know what's right and you know what you're wrong. But the goal of this trip is to truly love the people of Japan and become friends with them and show them that Christianity isn't always like the Western view of Christianity, because they look at the West and they associate Christianity with it. They're like the same thing in their eyes. So Donald Trump claims Christianity, that must be the view of Christianity. And that's not always true, in my opinion. And so we're trying to just show them what true Christians look like, how true Christians just love them, want to spend time with them. And so that was very cool, and it's a very cool opportunity to do that. And so we sat and had lunch with some people there. I have a picture. This is from left to right. This is McKenna, Joyce, I don't know his name, Hayote, Zach, and then me, obviously. I really connected with Hayote. Hayote loves basketball, and he loves the Los Angeles Lakers, and he also loves anime, which I'm starting to get into. So we really connected over that and had a really good conversation. Hayote has really good English, and that's the good thing about most of these high-level universities. Most of the Japanese people there are really good at English already, are trying really hard to be good at English because they really they want to be good and they want to have opportunities. And so they love to talk with us because they want to learn. So that was very cool. We talked about America a lot because he wants to go to America, and I told him to go to Arizona and Sedona, so that was very cool. And then after this we played Uno with a group of these girls who were very cool to talk to. They really enjoyed hanging out with us, and we really enjoyed hanging out with them. And they actually gave us a tour around Sophia University, which is very cool. One of them was actually a Christian, so that was cool to see. And the other two are very open to just hearing what, not necessarily wanting to believe what we believe, but hearing why we believe what we believe. And so we got to share that, like, hey, I just think living with Jesus gives me more purpose and more meaning for my life. And so that was very cool. And so we talked with them for like 2 hours. It was kind of wild. And then there was a event for Chi Alpha Japan, which is the ministry we're with. And so Chi Alpha is specifically passionate about running after college students. And there's a stat in Japan that 51% of the people that get baptized are the ages of 18 to 24. And then beyond that, the numbers are very, very low between each age group. So running after the college kids is where people are more open to ideas, and they're also not bound by their cultural norms. Everyone just does the same thing, but they can actually be themselves. So college is very, very pivotal for that. So after that, we went to this event called Aiki Cafe. And so it was just an event where we could hang out with the students in Japan Chi Alpha. Japan Chi Alpha is full of believers and also non-believers that want community and want to have friends and want to hang out with people. So we did that for a while. We played Uno and Jenga, and I also talked to this guy named Yusik for a while. He's from Poland, but he's studying in Japan, and so we talked. He's a Christian he was taking 45 credit hours, so that's very, very cool, very, very interesting. So yeah, so that was cool. And then after we talked and played games for a while, we had a Japanese dish. It was a rice plate topped with some fish and some shredded eggs, so that was very interesting. And I'm trying to learn how to eat the food, and so this food was actually very good, but some of the fish and stuff I'm just not very good at digesting yet, so pray for my stomach, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. It's been fine, but it is definitely a different cuisine than what we're used to back home. So that was cool, and we ended the day by sharing a presentation about why we picked Ohio State and why Ohio State is important to us and which team members we were. So we'll hang out with those students throughout the week. And one of my favorite students, his name was Yuta, and he's a German literature student. So it was very, very cool to talk to him. He's not Christian, but he's somewhat curious about it. So that was cool, and I really enjoyed talking to him. And then the next day was Friday. Nope, the next day was Saturday. And Saturday was really fun because Saturday was our one fun day of the trip. And so we got to go to Shibuya Crossing, which I'm going to pull up a picture of it in 1 second. Where'd it go? This is Shibuya Crossing. It's the biggest crosswalk in the world. And so I feel like I'm saying that a lot. Biggest, largest, busiest. And that's because it's fortunately or unfortunately, it's true. Everywhere in Tokyo, you're in the biggest or busiest train station, or you're in the biggest and busiest crosswalk, or you're in the biggest and busiest Starbucks. That's where we were yesterday. And so that was very cool. And the cool thing about our fun day was we got to go to Shibuya, and Shibuya has a bunch of different shops and shopping malls and just places to explore. But the cool thing was the people we had met the day before, one of them was named Koki, and Koki wanted to come hang out with us. So Koki came and hung out with us, and he also brought his friend Evan's from Kansas, and we really got along. I really appreciated Evan's perspective. Evan has moved to Japan and has a girlfriend who is Japanese and is starting a life here. And so Evan's from Kansas. We talked about why we were here, the purpose of why I was here. And Evan is not religious, but he was really curious about what we were doing. So we had a really good conversation, and we talked about all that. So Evan really guided us through Japan as well. So I'm super, super grateful for Evan. And so we hung out with them pretty much all day long, and we went shopping and exploring, and we got Starbucks. The Starbucks here is way better and way cheaper. So that's very, very cool. And then after we were there pretty much all day, I didn't get much, but some of the girls we were with went shopping, and so that was cool. And the prices here are much, much cheaper than America. So I did get a couple things, and I'm still in the market for some good sunglasses for cheap. So yeah, that was cool. And then after that, we met up one of our teammates. His name is Braxton. Here's a picture of him. Braxton has family here, and so we went to their house and had dinner with them, and they were very, very kind, very, very kind, very, very curious about what we were doing. They're not believers either, but it seems like everyone here is open to why you believe, not necessarily wanting to believe what you believe, but open to your perspective. And that's very refreshing, because in America, I feel like when you have a different perspective than people, they usually just like hit you with the stiff arm and say, I don't want to talk to you. So that's very, very interesting. And so the trip's been very, very cool so far. And today we're going to a church, and I'm actually preaching. So I would really appreciate your prayers, because I'm preaching with a translator for the first time, and I just don't know how it's going to go. And so I'm very excited, very curious, and so I would appreciate your prayers. I know you guys are right at dinner time right now because it's 5 o'clock there, but I would really appreciate if you could pray for me. And there's been a scripture that's been like all over my mind about like for this sermon, and I want to share it with you guys. It's 1 Peter. Sorry, I should have this prepared. Here we go. It's 1 Peter 2:9, and it says this: "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of the darkness and into his wonderful light. Once you were not a people, but now you are a people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy." And so we're talking about identity during my sermon. And in Japanese culture, the identity is based on what you do and who you are. How well you perform, how well you honor your father and mother, how well you get successful, how late you can stay at the office, how late you can go. And so we're talking about how that's not what true identity is. If identity is in your own performance, then if you're not perfect, you will be destroyed mentally. And you'll say, I'm a failure and I'm not good enough. But if your identity is in the performance of Jesus, his perfect performance, perfect life, and then death and resurrection, then you can trust in that and work out of that. And so I'm not saying I'm perfect because I have my identity in Jesus, but I'm secure because I have my identity in Jesus, and know that I wasn't like worthy of being saved before, and I'm not worthy now, and there's nothing I can do to earn what Jesus did for me, but he just loves me so deeply. And so we'll be talking about that, and I think it's a really timely message for them. And so I'm really excited, but I could really, really use your prayers for that. And then after that, we're going to have lunch with the church members. And then tonight, we're going to meet up with the missionaries and talk about the next week, because we have a busy week ahead of us of going to college campuses. So it's very exciting stuff. And yesterday in Shibuya, it was very evident to see that the lifestyle here is busier. And so for better or worse, they're much more efficient. They're much more on time. They don't like being late. And so that's a good thing. But also, I don't know what the balance is between being busy and truly resting. And work-life balance isn't really a thing here, as we talked about in Shinjiko. The fathers stay out really late and don't spend a lot of time with their kids. So it's very, very interesting. And so I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure these thoughts are not really streamlined, but I hope it's helpful. And so I would really appreciate your prayers for today and the next week. Thank you for following along with me, and I just pray that everything's going good back home, and I'm excited to see some of you soon. And so thank you for following along. This is Tokyo, Japan. Actually, Toshimiyaku is where we are right now. And so arigato means thank you in Japanese, so arigato.